I mean, my YouTube friends, my YouTube family. Uh, it's been a while since we've had just a regular stream. We've been grinding, trying to put out content for gaming and all my other stuff, and I think we've done a really good job of it. We've been gaining subs here and there, and I need to um, still. I feel like I still need to be putting out more and more videos, but we're good though. I'm excited with the direction that it's going. I don't have everything that I need or everything that I will have yet, but we're still we're doing pretty good. So, like I said, your boy TB is excited. Uh, I think I think as of now, we're just gonna keep pushing. Um, and I felt like tonight, well, come on, I wouldn't come on for a long time, but I felt like I would come on. Feel like we'd have a really good time. Just kind of speaking a little bit of college football because it is getting close, and just see how it goes. I know first want to give a shout out to the SEC. I know that we have seen a lot of news lately about the SEC. We've seen a lot of just here and there, whether it's recruiting, whether it's the playoffs. The most recent thing that I've been paying attention to is really the non-division in 2024. That's been really exciting to me. And I know everybody's gotten their schedules and this and that, but just seeing who Georgia will have to play, that is the part that I was really high on about not having divisions, was being able to schedule big games like that. I don't know if the SEC schedules those games. I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea who will schedule those games. I'm hoping that it's Georgia. I know it'll be a few years out for each season, but really excited that we get to play Alabama, Texas in the same season. Really looking forward to, and I want to say there was a season, it may be that same season we played Clemson at the very beginning in a neutral site. So a lot of good to come from that. Um, I'm just, I think I'm just really uh, ready for football season to get here. I know we got recruiting news, and there's way too much recruiting news to even try to bring it up right now. But super pumped about that. Happy about Georgia. Happy about really everybody. I'm very curious to see how a few teams will be. LSU. I know LSU is going to be pretty good. They got a few. Well, not a few. They got a lot returning. Uh, who else is it? Florida State. They'll be good. And this is away from just SEC. Ohio State. It'll be the same thing. Very very good teams. But the teams that I'm most curious about Auburn, curious about this, their hire that they just brought in. Of course, everybody knows who it is, but curious to see how Auburn does. I know they have talent on that team. Auburn always has talent. The coaching last year and the year before was questionable, and there was a lot of rumors that went out, and we all saw the product of that. And I get it. That sucks, but that's football. But shout out to Auburn for being able to make that change quick. Get on it. This coach coming in, it is Hugh Freeze, isn't it? I believe it is. What's up, Thomas? Georgia three-peat, man. That would be amazing. That would be more than amazing. But I'm just really curious to see how Auburn does. I know Alabama, they've got more talent than anybody. They got more talent than anybody in the universe. But we're all thinking the same thing. What's up, sir, UGA? We're all thinking the same thing, and I know everybody has said it. I've heard it on. Heck, I mean, it was on Fox 5 News. They were like, uh, "Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a shooting at the corner of East and Third. Also, I do want to let you guys know Alabama will not have a good quarterback this year." And I was like, "Yo, what? Like, this is the news, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like, everybody is talking about Alabama, and everybody's curious about what Bama's gonna do if they're gonna be any good." What's up, Nature Boy? Auburn has more mascots than they have Natty. But I mean, we're all wanting to see it too because I've heard from Alabama fans. You got two types. I've heard one, look, man, I know we don't have Bryce Young this year. It's going to be tough. We're going to have to fight it out. But then I've heard too, hey, man, you know what happened last time Bama was in this position? You know what happened last time? They lost 2 games. They bounced back. They bounced back, bro. Because it's Bama, bro. There's just something in the water, bro. You know how there's a certain type of water in Alabama that makes people lose their teeth? Well, there's a certain type of water at the University of Alabama that makes them bounce back. And it's like, yo, okay, you good? Are you listening? No, I'm listening, bro. And it's like they gonna bounce back. Like, okay, but are you going to bounce back with 2 running backs at quarterback that can't throw the ball? Or are you going to bounce back with a quarterback that left Notre Dame to come to you? He left Notre Dame to come to you. Like, so anyways, that's my curiosity with Bama. I know they're going to be great on, every other position on the field, but can they put it together? Big wonder. Is Arkansas going to go up? We saw Arkansas start off hot with their coach, the new coach, guy that came from Georgia, Pittman. Then they turned around and went downhill. They have gone downhill tremendously, and I hate that for Arkansas. But how is this transfer portal going to work? And the closer it gets here, the more I'm going to pay attention to it. But I will tell you, this is off the wall. I've heard a lot of good coming from Wisconsin's camp. Wisconsin, if you guys remember, I know people will say other teams won the transfer portal. If you're talking how big of a gap a team jumped, you can say, oh, well, so-and-so won the transfer portal, so-and-so. To me, Colorado and Wisconsin won the gap. They won it. Colorado lost 441 games last year. They won the gap, dominated the transfer portal for what they have and for what they are going to play. Wisconsin, same thing. You had a depleted roster, terrible roster, okay? And then you bring in, what is it? I think it was like 3 former 5-stars, 6 former 4-stars. You got 3 stars that were getting playing time on other teams. Wisconsin's going to look like a different team. I completely understand, Sir UGA. The only talent the pigs have is eating corn and a sloppy. So I'm just saying, like, that's what college football. That is what excites me about college football, is seeing these turnarounds. You can go back the last 10 years. You know who's in the top 5, who's in the top 10 in recruiting. That's cool and all. But it's cool to see these jumps from teams going from bottom tier to that almost mid tier. And that's what, like, that to me is exciting. Away from those two, very curious about Ohio State and their quarterback. Not that their quarterback's going to be bad. They're loaded at every position. But very curious to see how dude steps up. I did not get to see him play a lot last year. I know he was the backup, and I'm very sure he got in and got his reps. But want to see how they look. Everybody's saying they are one of the top 3 favorites to win the national championship, and that's cool. By the way, this stream is brought to you by Nate the Great's Taquitos. Dip them in fresh cream cheese, sprinkle seasoning in the cream cheese for a more advanced taste. Thank you, Nate. But that, like, to me, that's exciting. I saw a post where Michigan's defense was ranked number 2 coming into this year behind Georgia. And I'm not saying, oh, you're behind Georgia. I'm not trolling. Michigan has 2 years in a row has had the best offensive line, voted the best offensive line in the nation. Their offense is going to be, they got Blake Corum coming back. Is that right? And then you got Donovan Edwards. You got a great duo at running back. You're going to run the same pro-style offense. You've got the number 2 defense in the nation already. It's like there's so much that comes into, what is Michigan going to do? Is Michigan going to get over the hump? And not just Michigan fans are thinking this. It'd be huge for Jim Harbaugh to win it. You've got Ryan Day. You've got Jim Harbaugh. I would even put Dabo Swinney in this, not coaches that need to win. I'm saying Dabo Swinney has received a lot of crap. He has. We've given him crap, all of us. We've given Clemson crap. Cade Klubnik looked better than DJ Uiagalelei ooey, walla walla bing bang. He looked better than him, and he was young. Now you're bringing in Garrett Riley, who was a mastermind at the offensive coordinator position. What can he do in year one? We saw what he did in year one at TCU. Am I right? Was that his first year there? Even if it's his second, my point is Garrett Riley is a huge upgrade. It is a huge raise, not money wise, but a huge raise because Clemson's defense has been loaded and their defense has been let down time after time after time from the offense. That's not happening this year. Nate the Great, I was saying over the hump of like, I know that everybody wants Michigan to win a national championship. And it's like Michigan going into the playoffs, they lost to Georgia, and then they lost to TCU this past year. And it's like people are wanting Michigan to achieve that success. But so that's all I'm saying is a lot of cool things, a lot of cool pieces to look for. Florida, everybody thinks Florida's going to lose to Utah. I have no idea. It was Billy Napier's first year as a head coach. Guys, do you realize if somebody can barely walk and you train them for a whole year, of course they're going to gain tremendously, right? They're going to gain a lot more than the dude already running. It doesn't matter if they can run faster than them. They're going to get a lot better. Billy has never coached in the Power Five. First year there, does a few things people like, does a few things people don't like. Now he's going into year two. Is he going to make that big of a jump? I want to see it. I want to see that. I want to see them beat Utah. I want to see Florida be good again. MAFA. MAFGA. Make Florida. MFGA. Make Florida great again. Right? I don't know. Now, I don't want that. I want Florida to beat them. But then you got Georgia. Georgia just lost Stetson Bennett. Georgia lost their offensive coordinator. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. And I know people are like, well, they're just going to rely on the defense. I want the offense to score as many points as they can. Every game. I know everybody says that, but I really want to see it. I don't want Bobo to show us the old Bobo. That's what Georgia fans are worried about. Yeah, I was about to say, I wouldn't say Deion has a much different hump to get over. I do agree he's got to get over a hump, but it's a much different hump. But just like I said, that's super fun. And then on the flip side, you've got our boy Luke Fickell, who was at Wisconsin. Wisconsin. That's really, really crazy for him to go from Cincinnati. Now he's there, and he took Cincinnati from the ground up. Can he do it with Wisconsin? I think a lot of people think he can. I think he can. I think it's going to take a bit. It's going to take a bit for him to realize how much more recruiting pool he has at Wisconsin than he did at Cincinnati. So that's a cool thing. I will say top players returning. What's up, JC? What's up, Pate? I would say top players coming back for this year. I'm going to go. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be really good. I think Florida State's quarterback is going to be really good. I forgot his name. I think Brock Bowers for Georgia is in that top 5. So that's 3. I think Ohio State's Marvin Harrison is going to be in that top 5. Woo. Who would you guys say is the 5th? Who would you say is the 5th? Who would you put in your top 5? Name a player you'd put in your top 5 players coming into this season. I'm going Jaden Daniels, LSU. Quarterback from Florida State. I don't know how I forgot his name. Brock Bowers. Marvin Harrison from Ohio State. I wouldn't be mad at that, Nate. People are going to say because of his injury, is he going to be the same? I'm trying to think. That's a tough one, dude. I don't know who I'd put in that top 5 because I feel like I'm just selling out by just naming somebody. Jordan Travis, that's his name, yes. I feel like Jordan Travis is going to be dang good. That man last year showed you. But their defense, that's what they were missing. And now they've got a few transfers in. They've got some players who've got a year older. That's where I think Florida State will be better. You know who I'll put in that top 5 then? I'm going to go Cade Klubnik. Just because of Garrett Riley being at Clemson. I think Garrett Riley being at Clemson makes Cade Klubnik amplify by at least 2 or 3 times what he was. Top 5 all in any Georgia players, LOL. Uh, I I mean, I know we haven't seen a lot of them. Top 5 players that I expect to be good, expect to have good seasons. Really, really curious about Alabama. They got 2 running backs, number 1 and number 3 running backs in the nation this past signing class. You got those guys coming in. You've got Branson Robinson for Georgia, and you've got the Roberson kid, or maybe his last name's Robertson, but dude out of California that's pretty good. Um, JT Daniels. Yes, Nate. There you go. Definitely got JT Daniels. I completely forgot about him. JT Daniels will be at the University of Rice. This man will be playing for Chicken and Rice University. Okay. Um, I I really would love to pick his brain. I would love to know what's going on with JT Daniels, why he didn't just stay at West Virginia. Um, but, anyways, away from that, I'm thinking some other teams I'm thinking of. I guess I can't off the top of my head. South Carolina. South Carolina is coming for everyone's head. And I know Georgia is on that schedule for them, and I get it. With the first big game, they're the first big game we play. We play 2 cupcakes, and then we play South Carolina. But South Carolina is coming for everybody's head. They beat Clemson. They beat Tennessee. They think they are the bomb right now. They had a really good signing class. I mean, they're putting in work. And that's what happens when you have a big game early in the season like that. It makes your off season go through the roof. You work harder. I know this is bold, but I got South Carolina winning against Clemson again. I mean, I'm not mad at you, Nate. I mean, look at who South Carolina's returning. You got Spencer Rattler coming back. You've got the tight end coming back that transferred from Oklahoma with Spencer. You've got all the defensive players coming back. You've got that offensive line coming back for South Carolina. You've got the wide receivers coming back. Like, if you went and you looked at the draft this year, it would be very hard for you to find a South Carolina player in that draft. It'd be very hard because just like Florida State, South Carolina and Florida State, they both talked all of their veterans into coming back for another year at a chance for having a great season. That's it. I'm just saying, Spencer could have went in the draft, and dude could have gotten drafted in the first 2-3 rounds. He wouldn't have been like dude from Kentucky, Will Levis, and get drafted in the 54th round eating mayonnaise on banana peels. Like, that's not happening. What's up, Lizard? JC, I will talk about him in a second. But it's like that's the part to me about South Carolina that scares me is they are coming off of momentum, and they're going to go right into the season with it. So really, really awesome for Georgia to have that battle early in the season because we get to see what we look like. I just want Carson Beck and Brock Vandagriff to both get their chances in those first 2 games. I hope he shares the load with those dudes. Let them ball, bro. What's up, SO? But to Bo Nix, Bulldog JC brought up Bo Nix from Oregon. Oregon looks really good. Oregon has been in a few different top 10s that I've seen. I've seen people talking about him. I've seen interviews. I've seen people talking about him. And it's really, really neat to me. I'll also tell you another interview that I saw from Miami's coach. But I have seen really, really good things about Oregon. Bo Nix is coming back for his 8th year, whatever it is, of college football. But y'all got to remember, I don't think Oregon gave up 10 sacks last year. I don't even think they gave up like 6 or 7. I want to say it was probably like 4 or 5 on the year. They've got a good offensive line. Their defense is only getting better just because of Dan Lanning. And then you've got the fact that Bo Nix is a leader. At least he was better this past year than he was ever in his career. He's only going to get better. But now you flip from Oregon, who's there on their roll, they're on their way. Now let's flip to Miami. Miami just signed the best class in however many years. And there was an interview with Josh Pate and Miami's coach, Super Mario, and they're sitting there talking about, what do you? This was the question. How do you block out the noise? How do you deal with it? He said, I know you're all in. He said, but is there like 2 or 3% of you that listens to the noise when people say, oh, they can't do it. oh, they're never coming back. Oh, it's impossible. He was like, and Coach Cristobal said, he's like, he said, that's a foreign language to me. He said, we don't hear it. Our players don't hear it. He said, we have guys coming in and they believe, whether it's freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. He said, and that's how you have to build a program. And so since Mario Cristobal played at Miami, he brings that punch. But he was really high on this class he just signed. And it being the best class they've had in a while, plus the team they already have, he's really high on it. He's really high on his offensive coordinator. It's also a bold prediction. Colorado going 5-7. Okay, Nate, I see you. But he's really, really big on his offense coordinator they just brought in. He said he is a pass happy guy, but he is mixing it in with the pro style. He's running the ball. He said their offensive line, he's asking a lot out of them in the run game. So just to hear Mario say that there are a lot of teams that are really high on themselves, and we are a year away from a 12-team playoff. Like, it's cool having 14 playoff, y'all. It's great. We get to see teams battle for those top 4 spots. So anybody out of the 7-8 range, they're just trying to have the best season they can. You're going to a 12-team playoff, now you're having that 15-20. You're having people fight every single week because they're trying to make it. Like, that is, college football is about to get competitive as crap. We already thought it was cool. Wait till you have the playoffs, and now you got 5 through 12, and you got home games for college playoffs. It's a one and done. Or not one and done, but it's a you win or go home. That's when it's about to be exciting, bro. 12-4 confront. Yeah, Jay, I'm with you, bro. I mean, even if it's like, oh, well, Georgia's sitting at home, they got to bye this week because they're in the playoff. I don't care. Or Georgia's number 6. So now they got a home game at the Hedges versus so-and-so. Do you realize ticket sales are going through the roof? Tailgating for a playoff game. The first ever home playoff game. That is going to be nuts. The crowd is going to be way in. Dude, I cannot wait. Sports are about to do a full backflip. And with it being a one or done, think of March Madness. Think of how you see these teams in March Madness and the crowd is going crazy. And it's a 10-point game and the team starts making a run back and they come back and they win by 1 and everybody goes crazy. You're about to see that with these playoff games unless it's a blowout. And I know people say, oh, well, every year it's been a blowout in the playoffs. Yeah, because it's top 4. What happens when you start getting into that 5 through 12 range? When you start getting outside of the teams that are fully, sharpened on every single part of their team, right? Outside of offense, defense, and special teams. What if you find that team that's number 9 because they have a great offense? You find that team that's number 11 because their defense is really, really good and they're spitting out just enough points to win games. Yeah, exactly. Jay said that's better than those crappy bowl games in most of December. That is my point of just how hyped up, how excited I am about that. So, like I said, I mean, I've been going, I feel like I've been talking for like 10 straight minutes about it. But yes, I'm excited. I am actually going to post the link. I didn't plan on it. I was going to plan on making this a short stream, but I will post the link if you guys have anything to say about just anything I've said, or you've got some points that you want to make. You're welcome to come on and make them. Just a huge, huge year this year. And then the fact you've got Texas and Oklahoma, them getting ready for the whole SEC deal. SEC football is about to be amazing. I would not even be surprised if in the next 2-3 years you had Clemson join the SEC. Like, bro, every single game is going to be crunk. Oh, really happy about the non-division. Really happy about that. I love that Georgia's going to be able to schedule Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma. Like, Georgia can sit there and schedule all these strong teams just because. You can still have your cupcake teams, but what will your reaction be if Colorado went 12-0? Nate, I will pass out on stream. I will start a stream, and then I'll just pass out. I'll faint. Put my hand over my head and just drop. I do think Colorado is going to do some good things, but I also know that it's really hard to take a team that won one game or if they didn't win a game. Anyways, I know it's tough to take a team and just completely make a 180. It's not like you're playing NCAA football on the PlayStation. So, yeah. You get what I'm saying. I'm hyped, man. Big Ten's winner with the first round bye better be prepared. It's getting ridiculous how they can't win a bowl or a playoff game. Well, think of the recruiting this does, bro. Think of the recruiting now because your point of being a really good player and going to, whatever, you going to Bama or you going to Georgia or Ohio State or Clemson. Yeah, that's good. And you're still going to get their players. But now I'm going to go to South Carolina. Well, why are you going to South Carolina? Dude, I can go there. I can get playing time right away. But also, like, they're playing these big games every week. So I'm not having to sit for 2-3 years. And then also, last year they were number 9, and the year before they were number 11. They got into the playoffs both years. Like, you start to see players think, yes, NIL, but also start to broaden their horizon. So that to me is the really neat part too. Is if you like college football, you love seeing the guys that are those 3 stars that come out of the ground, and it's like, yo, where'd you come from? So just a really neat thing, man. I mean, y'all, like I said, y'all don't have to jump on, but you can at least, comment. Give me your opinion on that. I'm head over heels. I feel like a little kid in a candy store. I feel like this year of college football, to know this will be the last time we have a 4-team playoff, it's going to be exciting. Now, if as a Georgia fan, would I rather us have a 12-team playoff this year? Yes, because we have a brand new quarterback and a brand new offensive coordinator, so it would allow us to slip up a game or two and still get in the playoff. But not having that and it just being a 4-team playoff puts a little more pressure, puts a little more heat. And like that's what I like. Like that's the part of college football is like this year is going to be the last year of this. Then we're going 12-team. You're going to see a lot more young guys get playing time too, especially if you're a Georgia or Michigan or Oregon or Ohio State. A lot of these young guys coming in, they're about to get a lot of playing time because there's another game /2, possible 2 at the end of the season. So that's what I like. It's the part to me that just, I don't know, man. Feel like I may be too excited or I may be too hyped up, but I'm going to do what you hear me talking about now. I am going to do some breakdowns. It may take me a bit, but I'm going to do my best to do some breakdowns of of Colorado, of the teams that I feel are going to that have that big jump, just not season wise, not record wise, but just big jump like Colorado, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Auburn. Who else did we name? We'll do that. And then I would like to talk about like South Carolina and Florida State, getting a lot of guys to come back. I just feel like there's a lot of content to be made. And it's up to me to make the content, bro. It's up to me to make time for it and tell myself to shut up and do it. I think that's going to be the fun. What's up, Mr. Nate?
What's up? So yeah, no, I do not think Colorado's going 12-0. I'm just saying that if that were to happen, I think we will all be shocked, very shocked if that happened. But I don't think it's going to happen anyway.
Well, let's take it down a notch. What would make you be shocked? What record for Colorado would make you be shocked? Not just undefeated, but what would be a record where you're like, oh, they did that?
Like a 9-2-ish or 10-2-ish or something like that.
Nate, your sound, you sound like a robot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to say, jump off, jump back on. Texas, FSU, Trojans, UGA, and Penn State. Oh, okay, Jay, I see you with the take. Jay, I forgot all about USC. Bro, there's some good teams. Bro, there are some really good teams in college football, bro. Okay, we got Nate back on. Nate, is this not crazy? Jay just talked about he said Texas. He thinks Texas is gonna win their conference. Florida State's gonna win the ACC. USC is gonna win theirs. Georgia will win theirs, and Penn State wins theirs. Who I'm guessing Penn State's in y'all's conference, right?
Big Ten, yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I think Penn State is. I think that pick is possible.
So you think it'll either be Penn State or Michigan?
Or Ohio State, but either of those three for the Big Ten. But if I was unbiased, I'd probably Penn State.
Nate, I muted you real quick. I don't know why your mic is doing that. I'm gonna unmute you real quick. Oh, it's still on again. I don't know what's going on, Nate. I don't know why it's doing it. Do you have like another phone close to it? Maybe put it away from another phone or something. I'm gonna unmute you real quick. We'll see what it does.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. I think I went to I adjusted the settings in the audio section. My echo cancellation and the Mac adjust mic volume was off, so I checked mark all that. So
got you. Well, but back to what you were saying. I forgot about you got Ohio State too in that mix. That is I know people talk about SEC a lot. I talk about SEC a lot, bro. Y'all got a rough little y'all two, you Ohio State, and then you got Penn State.
Yep,
that's tough.
And to be honest, we have Ohio State at home though. That's the thing, which is yes, we have home field advantage. But the thing is,
didn't y'all beat Ohio State at Ohio State this year?
This last year, yes.
Wow. Okay.
I think it was like, it was like 47-23, I think. Michigan did.
Oh my goodness. Yo, what?
And plus, the good thing about that is it was really good weather. Ah. But yeah, and to be honest, I just want to let you know that the Penn State game is not at night because it's at noon. Not saying that Michigan is going to beat them. They're probably Michigan might lose to Penn State away, but just saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not. You feel like a night game would be a lot tougher.
Yeah, a lot tougher than morning or whatever you call it, afternoon games.
Yeah, I get that.
But I think Michigan could go 11. Actually, I think that I want to. The game speaks for itself. That's the problem. I don't want to jinx anything. That's the thing I don't like about predictions because you might jinx a game. So
yeah. I'll say this though. This will make you feel better about jinxing.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'll tell you this. I'm a Georgia fan, right?
Yeah.
Well, I agree with the jinxing thing, but Georgia just went undefeated. There were a lot of Georgia fans going, "We're going undefeated there, brother. Yeah, brother, we're going undefeated." So they sat there and said that the whole time, and we did go undefeated. So if the jinx really mattered, if they said that, then it wouldn't have happened.
Well, I'm just saying because Michigan, I think I don't know if it's a pattern or anything, but every time that Michigan is like, on spotlight or whatever you call it, like favored to win those games.
Yeah,
I mean, they sometimes choke.
Well, let me ask you a few questions. Okay.
All right.
Michigan versus Ohio State. Who's winning?
I'll let that game speak for itself, but I'll choose Michigan though.
Georgia versus Tennessee.
I think it's gonna be a little bit closer game, but I think Georgia pulls it off.
South Carolina versus Clemson.
South Carolina by a field goal, game winner.
Okay. Florida State versus Florida.
Well, obviously, Florida State.
This is a tough one. Alabama versus Auburn.
Where's it at this year?
I don't know, but let's just say it was at Auburn.
I'll take Auburn then.
The only reason I'm giving Auburn a chance, they have an offensive mastermind at head coach. All they have to do is play good enough defense to mess up Alabama's quarterbacks and get out enough offense to score. Because I forgot who it was. Huh?
I said they might do that this year. I'm just saying.
Well,
yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. That's my point.
Yeah. Ballard, I'm sorry that you're hearing this. If you are, close your YouTube page, because I picked Auburn over Alabama. I'm sorry. You can forgive me if or you can trash talk me if Bama pick or beats Auburn, but I just choosing Auburn if it is at the barn. I'm pretty sure it is, but I don't know for sure. But
I just know that Bama has enough talent.
Yeah,
they could beat a few teams without a quarterback.
Exactly, like a running back. What else? What wide receiver? Well, I don't know about wide receivers, but
no, they're loaded. I'm just saying they could just run like read options and little short passes.
Yeah, like jet sweeps and stuff. That's those simple things.
And their quarterback, is it Milton or Milrow? It's Milrow.
Yeah, Milrow or Mildew.
Well, he is good enough. If you just ran read options with him, he's fast enough that he could make you pay. What's up, Traveling?
Yeah, he's basically like what you call. He's probably better than Jeff Sims, but I don't know about that. The quarterback from Georgia Tech that transferred. Yeah. He actually reminds me of that. Or
he does, but he's a lot stronger and faster than Jeff.
That is true. That is true.
Jay says Bama loses to Texas. Okay. Esso says Bama curb tops Auburn. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I'm just saying that is because it's a rivalry. I could see that being a really good game.
And it's been, I won't say close. Well, it's been sort of close this past 2 years.
Are you talking about Bama Auburn?
Yeah.
Okay.
But here, let's look it up. Bama versus Auburn football. It's at, where's that? It's at Auburn, I think. Yeah, it says at Auburn.
At Aaron Hare? Oh, no, Jordan Hare. Well, all I know is Georgia.
Yeah.
This year, the one game that I'm worried about, Georgia versus Missouri. That crap better not happen again, bro. Well, we almost lost to Missouri.
That's kind of pitiful right there.
Ayo, Slim Shady. What's up, Zona?
No. But
well, I was going to bring this up. I was going to bring this up because we had just talked about it, but Slim's here. And Traveling. I had heard the full interview between Cristobal and Josh Pate, and I loved it. Like, I've never really gotten to hear Super Mario talk and hear how he, goes about things. But I was very, very impressed. And there was a part where Josh Pate was like, he said, "Yeah, there was one game where I heard you privately being really, really raw to your team." He said, "And I've never heard you be that raw before, at least not publicly." He said, "And I was very impressed with how your team responded to you." And he was just kind of asking, like, how do you go about that? And basically, Nate, he was telling the dude, like, he said, "Well, we have a standard." He said, "And I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, well, we lost, blah blah blah. Like, we lost because of this, or we lost because of that." No, like, he said, "I want everybody in the building, the players, the staff, the trainer, I want all of them to know that's unacceptable. It is. It doesn't matter what happened. It is unacceptable to play a certain way." And he just felt like now, especially with this big class he just signed, like everybody coming in feels that way. And then the veterans, they feel that way too. They're buying in. And I was like, that, like I said, that to me is a very, very neat thing. Uh-oh, Nate.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Nate.
Yo.
Get him, Ballard. Get
Hell
him.
yeah.
He's
Nah,
said
man,
that.
I just tuned in, so what all did I miss, man? Do I
So,
need to go?
Okay.
Nate said that your mom makes the worst potato salad he's
I
ever
did
had
not say
in
that.
his life. He said the potato salad was nasty, the cornbread was nasty, the chicken casserole tasted like cat litter, and I was like, "Nate, calm down. Calm down, Nate."
No, I did not say that.
Anyway, so what we were saying is, you guys playing at Auburn this year, that is going to be a big game for me to watch because Alabama has the chance over the course of the season to get better. We've already had this talk, Ballard, about the quarterback situation and it not being the best, but that doesn't mean that they can't maintain. All you need is a game manager. It would be different if all the other positions weren't 4 and 5 stars. But you do have that. So you just need a game manager. You've got the number 1 and number 3 running back in the nation that just showed up on campus. They're going to be able to get some reps here and there. And I'm not saying they're going to take over games. It's just saying with Milroe, and I know the Notre Dame quarterback's going to do good, but with Milroe, you could run a lot of short passes, read options, and screens. Milroe, if he settles down and doesn't try to throw downfield, that man would beat you every time on a read option.
Yeah,
so
like a jet sweep and
Really?
stuff. And slants.
yes. So to say all that, your offense has to be able to sustain, stay on the field. We saw Anthony Richardson for Florida not be able to sustain, not be able to stay on the field, but he's got a lot of potential.
Right.
You are going to see Alabama try to do more sustaining because if you play against Auburn, who just got Hugh Freeze, all he's going to do is say, defensively, we just have to make Bama beat themselves and score enough points. Because if he comes in and he beats Bama in his first year, they're looking at it like, oh, we got another Gene Chizik. We got another whatever dude's name was after Gene Chizik.
Gus Malzahn.
Yes, we got another Gus. So that's what I'm saying is, how do you view the Auburn-Alabama game?
I view it as a potential trap for Alabama. In fact, if you go back and you watch my Alabama season prediction, I said we could go 11-1 at most. I don't think we go undefeated, but I think that we have the potential to run the table this year. And if anybody's going to get us, the only thing I said was that I think Tennessee and LSU are revenge games, and Nick Saban's really good there, even though I see a lot of potential in LSU. But I said be careful with the first-year head coach at Auburn because they've had great success in recent years other than Brian Harsin. And Hugh Freeze knows his way around the SEC. Remember, he got Nick Saban 2 years in a row at Ole Miss.
He did, and people have to remember, coaches most of the time get fired for being a bad coach, for not producing. Hugh Freeze was producing, but he was also producing some dances in the locker room for some players. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just saying, you're not getting a coach that's like, hey, guys, I know I was terrible a few years ago, but I'm going to try to be better. No, you're getting Hugh Freeze with a chip on his shoulder because in Hugh Freeze's mind, he's like, the crap that I got in trouble for, everybody else is doing right now legally. All the
Right.
NIL stuff that y'all are doing, I got in trouble for that. So now I'm back. I'm back in the SEC. This is my time. And let's be honest, Auburn has way better facilities than Ole Miss has.
Yeah. And think about this, I know you start seeing today too, and this is going to help catapult him to build the Auburn program. Mississippi is a pretty good recruiting ground. And maybe it was okay when he was at Ole Miss. He had some good players there, but
Yeah.
I think you're starting to see a lot of guys emerge out of the state of Alabama. Imagine him getting some 4 stars, maybe even if he plays his cards right. If he picks up a rare 5-star and flips them from us, basically what I'm trying to say is that his recruiting is going to help this program a lot too, and you're going to see that play on the field.
Yes, his recruiting just as much as his coaching, and not just the state of Alabama. He's right by Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee. Like,
Texas.
yes, dude, I agree completely with that. You're going to see a much different Auburn, and he has already hit the ground running. That dude is not taking any time. Wasn't he the one that had the weird spring game where they did it a different way?
They already gave points on the board before it started, and they gave safeties and stuff, or they had points for making a catch. It was crazy, but I think he wanted to do that to motivate the players a little bit,
No, and I like that. And Nate, this is my point of that. Why I wanted to bring that up about the spring game. When we watch spring games, the three of us, everybody in the chat, we all watch the spring game and we judge it. We judge it the same way we judge any spring game we've ever seen. We know that a lot of players are going to get rotated. We know you're not going to see the starting whoever on the field the whole time. But what Hugh Freeze did, he threw you off. Not Bama, but just everybody. Because now you don't know how to judge that spring game. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't get to see his starters. You didn't get to see, you might have seen them, but you saw them in scenarios. So that's the part where I'm like, Hugh Freeze is a genius. He didn't give anything up to anybody. So that's what makes me kind of like, okay, I'm watching. You got my attention. But
what makes this more interesting too, I don't know if you already brought this up or not. Did you see where Auburn brought in Peyton Thorne from Michigan State too?
No, I did not.
So that's a big pickup. He was pretty good with the Spartans, and I think it's going to be even bigger for Auburn. I don't know if he's going to be the starter right away, and I'm not sure how many years of eligibility he has. But you have a guy already in Robbie Ashford, and they have the quarterback and they have the tools, and I can't think of any of the receivers or anything, but I know they have a couple guys that are talented enough to go out on the field and produce on offense.
Yeah. Zona and Jay says A&M laughing at Bama about being good at revenge. Is that because wait, y'all did beat A&M this past year? It was just really close, wasn't it?
It was Jalen Milroe's first start, and we did win 24-20 in Tuscaloosa.
That's right, because that's when everybody saw Milroe do terrible.
Mildew.
Yeah, and then Zona says he's looking forward to Texas A&M and Texas this next season. Dude,
I am too. That's a rivalry that I think it was when Texas A&M left the Big 12. I think is when they cut it off, and I'm just like, what the hell? I'm like, really? Because that was I think they call it the Lone Star Showdown. So it used to be played forever, man, until Texas A&M jumped ship and came over to the SEC. And I'm excited.
Whoa! Hold on. So Texas and Texas A&M haven't played since then?
I don't think so, because I think they last met in 2011, and A&M joined the conference, I think, in 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Remember that year, Johnny Manziel ran all over Alabama?
Well, Johnny Manziel ran over everybody.
Yeah, on the
Oh,
Heisman. And
that's crazy. I didn't know that.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they haven't played since then.
Well, there you go. There's a lot of things to look forward to for this next season.
So
That's
let me ask you this: with Georgia's schedule, what opponent are you most excited for? That's probably new to you guys.
you're talking about for 24.
Yeah,
I think yes, Texas, but I'm going to go Bama because with Mark Richt, every time that we played Bama in the regular season, we got our tail handed to us. We were never able to be ready for that, and it's like playing Bama in the regular season for us. That is going to make us so much stronger because it's not a hey, we just have to be ready at the end of the year. No, we got to be ready by game 4. Or we got to be ready by game 6. Like it adds so much pressure to a team that's already trying to defeat all the odds, you know?
yeah,
But I'll say this for this season, my team is South Carolina.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
everybody's like, oh, it's Tennessee. And by the time we play Tennessee, we're already going to be set in stone. We'll be good to go. But South Carolina, what'd you say?
You can go ahead and finish. I'll comment in a second.
I was just saying with South Carolina, they've got momentum from last year, bro. They coming. They're spending this whole off season. They just had a really good recruiting class. They just convinced everybody to stay. Shane Beamer's got everybody hyped. He's a players coach. This whole off season, they've got that target on Georgia. They're trying to shock the world. You just beat Clemson. You beat Tennessee to finish the season. You beat Clemson. Dude, they're ready. They're ready to prove to everybody. So that's what I think.
Did they win their bowl game this year too?
I think. I don't know.
They played Notre Dame. I thought they won.
Nate.
In the Gator Bowl.
Oh, Nate's not here.
Yeah, Alabama's got South Carolina and Tuscaloosa next year, so that'll be fun. And I'd like to get Twisted Rooster down here, and maybe we could go to a game or something. I think that'd be a blast, man.
Yeah, easy. He said they lost to Notre Dame. He said somebody said South Carolina and lost to Notre Dame.
Okay. I thought maybe they had won,
but he was saying, I think it's BS. We complain about our schedule, our home schedule, and then our 3 toughest games are not in Athens.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. Like I said, it's just I'm just super excited for what college football brings. This will be the last year for 4-team playoff. Then we're going to 12-team. No longer are you going to have just the top 5, 6 teams competing or top 7, 8 competing to get in that top 4. Now you're going to have the top 15, 20 teams trying to get into that top 12.
And think about how cool and interesting it'll be. So they're going to take the Power 5 champs. They're going to take the highest group of 5. And then they'll have some at-large teams. Those at-large teams, man, you get a couple more SEC teams. You probably get, if North Carolina's on the right track, or maybe you get a couple Big Ten. Like, these are going to be fun, man.
Well, I think the part to me that excites me, makes me feel like a little kid, is like, hold on, Jay, I will read that. Give me just a second. It's like, imagine Bama, let's say they lose the conference championship game. Okay. They're still number 5, 6, whatever, 5, 6, 7, whatever. You get a home game at Tuscaloosa for a playoff game. This is not a regular season game. This is not a bowl game in Hawaii. This is a playoff game that gives you a potential to win the national championship, and it's in Tuscaloosa. You don't even get conference championship games at home. So that to me is like, can you imagine the ticket sales? Can you imagine the atmosphere? It is going to be wild, dude.
Yeah, and it'll be like you've never before seen in Tuscaloosa. And I'd say the same thing for Georgia and Athens.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who wins the SEC championship. whether it's Georgia and Alabama, fighting for the next 5-6 years for that conference championship, you're going to see each other again.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Do you buy the fact that we have the potential for more upsets in the playoffs with the 12 team, or do you think everyone, like the main suspects, are going to get run over?
I think the upsets will come in the first round because the playoff was the top 4 teams. Well, out of that top 4, you might have 1 or 2 that are completely well-rounded. This year you just had 1, Georgia, because TCU beats Michigan. Everybody's like, oh, man, TCU's a good team. Georgia beats Ohio State. And everybody's like, man, Ohio State looked great. Well, they didn't look great in the season. I mean,
Right.
They did, but they didn't look great the entire season. So then against Georgia, they played their best game. Wow. Well, then Georgia destroys TCU, and everybody's like, oh, TCU didn't deserve to be there. So, okay.
Yeah.
Now you're going to see the top 4 getting to relax, and you're going to see, okay, this team's number 9, Oregon. Oregon's number 9 because their offense was number 2 in the nation.
Right.
It's not because they were fully well-rounded. They just had a really good offense. So you're going to see Iowa be number 12 because their defense was the best in the nation and their offense was decent.
Iowa in the playoffs.
I know. I'm just saying that's where I think the upsets will come, is in that area. But then if Iowa or Oregon then plays a Georgia, Alabama, or Ohio State, that's when I think the blowout comes.
I got you. Unless, I mean, for all we know, I think 9 times out of 10 you'll probably see a blowout in round 2. But I mean, who knows? I think what makes it exciting is you'll have like a 12-5 and a 6 and a 11 or whatever it might be, and the lower seed wins and they advance. Do they use that as momentum to pull off yet another upset? I think that's what's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I think you got to look at too. If you lose, hold on, I want to say this. Jay said Ole Miss will be UGA's closest game at the end of the regular season. Preparing to go to Tennessee the following week is a factor. Plus, I don't like when Kirby coaches against his buddies. They've all been close except the Arkansas game. I'll say this, dude. If you lose the conference championship game and then you're still a playoff team, you just played an extra game and you don't get the bye week. Because if you win the conference championship, now you're getting to sit out a game. But if you lose, you've got to turn around the next week or next 2 weeks and then play this team. And it's like, it's almost like a travel ball tournament where if you lose, now you got to play all the teams to work your way back up to the championship game.
I got you.
So that makes it exciting, because then imagine if let's say Michigan loses to Penn State in the conference championship game, but then they work their way back to the national championship game. That's a heck of a story.
Yeah, it is.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Big Ten's doing away with divisions. Is it this year or next year?
I think it's next year, but doesn't the Big 12, they already did away, right?
Yeah. The team doing away with the conference doing away with divisions this year is the ACC, though.
Oh, okay.
I think that's going to be Clemson, Florida State, and I don't have them making the playoffs, but I don't know, man. I'm still kind of tossed up on, does Florida State make, pull an upset over Clemson, or is it even an upset? I really like Florida State this year, but I also kind of like, not 100%, but a little bit, kind of like Clemson and maybe their chances of getting back into the playoffs. What you think about that?
Okay. By the way, what's up, my uncle? 2 things. South Carolina and Florida State are very similar teams. Why? Because they both have similar quarterbacks. They've got quarterbacks that can move their feet, quarterbacks that can throw the ball. Defensively, both teams have had a pretty good defense, but not a good enough defense to win them big games, right? They've won big games, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying against Clemson. South Carolina beat Clemson. So what does that do for Florida State? That gives them all the momentum to go, dude, we can do that too. Right. But then you've got Clemson with Garrett Riley. Cade Klubnik was decent without Garrett Riley. He was way better than DJ ooey ooey. Now you give Cade and Dabo Garrett Riley. Dabo gets to relieve the stress of worrying about the offense. I think Cade Klubnik will look good. I think the defense for Clemson has always been good. It just you can't stay on the field for 90% of the game and expect them to still play the same way.
Yeah.
Like it's college football. So that's what I'm thinking is it will be Florida State or Clemson. It's going to depend on how well Garrett Riley can have that offense rolling, how smooth, how oiled the machine, how he can do it. And if they're not there yet, Florida State will take it. If he's got them going, I think Clemson has the defense to be able to play anybody. So
right.
Jay says he's got FSU beating Clemson twice.
Interesting. It's hard to beat the same team twice in a year, especially. I mean, we remember Clemson had that scenario in 2020, and they got revenge on Notre Dame when they got Trevor Lawrence back. I hope nothing happens to Cade Klubnik the first time around, and really at all. I don't wish injuries on anybody, but hopefully everyone's healthy for the Florida State Clemson game and every game. And if they get a rematch, I guess take the team that lost the first time. But
if Trevor Lawrence was not hurt, they win that game against Notre Dame the first time.
Well, you know what I mean. He was quarantined.
Yeah. No, I get that. I'm just saying, it is hard to beat a team twice, but when there's a factor like that, Trevor Lawrence, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in college football, makes a little bit of a difference.
Yeah. Like, let me throw this example out there. We beat you guys in the 2021 SEC title. Well, we faced you in the national title game. Do you think a factor of you guys winning against us was that you already lost to us in 2021? I mean,
I don't know how true this is, and I want your opinion since you're a Bama fan. I think Georgia knew they were already in the playoff no matter what. So I don't know the game plan, but it did not seem like Georgia played very aggressive. And going back and watching tape, not like I'm some film guru, but going back and watching tape, we did not blitz more than 4 players. More than 4. 4 is an average down line. We did not blitz more than 4 players. Well, 3 is probably an average down line for Kirby. We did not blitz more than 4 players for I want to say it was like 75, almost 80% of the game. We ran straight zone. We ran straight. Even if it was man, it was a very loose man the entire game, and it pissed me off. But then when I watched the national championship game, dude, Kirby sent more pressure. It looked like the Clemson game. Kirby was just sending people left and right. I mean, dude, what was it? We sacked Bryce like 6 or 7 times.
You did. And I remind you in that game, yes, it was 33-18. Let's not forget, I think it was like 9-6 in the fourth quarter at one point or at halftime or something like that. Like, y'all just kept building on the fourth quarter. But for a lot of that game, y'all had a lead over Alabama, and it was very defensive.
I want to say y'all, if I'm right, at halftime, y'all were leading. Yeah,
but you get like it was such a defensive and old school style of game, which I like that about it. But Georgia, I thought from the Clemson game, I went into that season. I said it in the off season. I said something tells me Kirby Smart might be motivated this year to do it. This could be the year of the dog, and it was. And I looked at the Clemson game; it was 10-3, and I'm like, well, these are the 2 best defenses in college football, and we'll see what they do. And I looked at Alabama, and I saw what we lost in 2020, from 2020.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Najee Harris, all those guys are gone. What's Alabama going to do? I was shocked that we even made the playoffs or won the West or did any of that, man. I know we had Bryce, but going into the season, there wasn't a lot of expectation for him.
Well, that goes back to that statement of what is Bama going to do this year? Because you don't have a Devontae Freeman. You don't have a Najee Harris. You don't have those guys, and you don't have a Bryce Young. So it's like, who steps up? But you were talking about the Georgia game. That was the part to me that was so impressive, was that same way that it was a defensive battle in the championship game until like late third quarter, was because we sent a lot of pressure after Bryce. And that's what was like, wait, why didn't you do that in the SEC championship game? And for me, and this is just my opinion, people can say I'm dumb, oh, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. Kirby worked with Nick Saban for 6 to 8 years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You don't think he knows how much of a game manager, game detailer, whatever it's called, game planner that Saban is? I feel like he did not want to show Saban what he was going to do, because then if you beat him in the championship game and Alabama still gets in, or if you show your hand and you still lose, yes, you still get in, but now Bama knows how you're going to play. So the next time they play you, they're already. So, like I said, I may be crazy, but that's kind of my thought, is like Kirby was like, nope, I'm not giving you anything. We're going to play zone the whole time, guys. Y'all just stay back. Well, coach, what do you want? Nope. Let's just run the ball. Let's get this game out of the way.
I think another thing too, one thing that I had brought up about that, what was so hilarious to me about the 2021 SEC title game, all season long, the offensive line was depleted and looked terrible. And then all of a sudden they wanted to show up in that game. And I'm just like, where the hell was this all year? And then it fell apart even against Cincinnati a little bit in the playoffs. It's like you had the one good game for the O-line to protect Bryce Young. And it was against Georgia the first time. Now, what would you rather have, an SEC title or a national title? Because I'd rather have a natty, man.
Like, well, that's what adds to my point, though. That is exactly what adds to my point. Why did Bama's offensive line look great in the SEC championship game? Because they received no pressure. Cincinnati sent more pressure to y'all than we did in the SEC championship game. And then when we really sent our pressure, your offensive line looked the same way they did the whole season. So it's like, you see what I mean? Like, there's no way a player goes from being a C+ and then you get to the SEC championship game and he's all of a sudden an A+, and it's like, wow, Johnny ate all of his collard greens last night and his black-eyed peas, and he prayed upside down hanging from one leg and it worked. No, that's not real life.
Right.
So that's why I say it was like, all of a sudden their offensive line looks great. Georgia didn't get any pressure, and I'm like, yo, what you doing, dog? Kirby, what you? And Kirby's like, yo, I got it. I got this. I'm like, okay. And then the natty comes and he's sending everybody left and right, stunts, cornerback blitzes, and I'm like, oh, so this is what you were doing. So
yeah.
It was, Jay Shocks made a good point. He said he remembers in the SEC championship game that Jordan Davis was gassed in the first quarter, and they were rotating in younger D tackles in the first quarter, and the announcers were like, man, those Georgia defensive linemen are really tired and blah, blah. He said he feels like it was just an act. Kirby was just throwing young players out there so they could get a feel for the game, and then all of a sudden the natty comes and everybody's back in shape. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if anybody would do that, it'd be the guy that coached under Nick Saban for 8 years.
I guess we did that at times in some games with Kirby at the realm of defense. I don't know.
No. I'm not saying he did it at Alabama. I'm saying Kirby knows Nick Saban. So his mind was like, bro, you can't give him anything. So
Jimbo was still the first assistant to beat Nick Saban, so I think he probably knows a little bit more. Anyway, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
But that's what I'm saying. I could just see them sitting in a room going, guys, how do we approach this SEC championship game?
Yeah. Like, well, and Kirby Hart's just sitting there yelling at him. It's like, we're gonna blankety blank, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna lose on purpose so we can win a national title against these mother. That's Kirby Smart, right? Like, he pretty much loves to run his mouth a little bit and get them fired up.
Yes, dude. Tomorrow night we'll be traveling. Tonight won't be. He's asking if it was a call-in show. I was planning to just go 30 minutes, but we're an hour and 10 in. I was gonna. All right, now I'm just kind of doing some editing for YouTube and really just gonna start posting a lot of stuff on my YouTube or my TikTok, but it's under my YouTube handle, and just making content.
Yeah.
The hat said Jimbo don't know when to change toilet paper.
Wow.
But Ballard, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to check out your video on Bama, the one you had brought up earlier. If you guys haven't, definitely check it out because I'm curious to see what he has to say. But tomorrow night, I will do a call-in show, and we'll get a few of our people on here. Jay Shipes, Traveling Fools. You're welcome to come back on, Ballard.
Yes, sir.
Kirby got a huge bonus by SEC Commissioner for letting the second team in. Oh, he's still going. He said in the SEC wanted bargaining chips. Okay. Yeah. Anything you want to say, big dog?
Nah, man. It's always good to talk to you. It's been a minute, man. What happened to are you still on call-in shows with Pete? Have I missed that or?
Yeah. I'm still on. He went out of town this week. He went to go save like a certain species of rhinoceros that was almost extinct. Him and his wife are going to do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
We should be back on this Friday.
Cool, man. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Sounds good, buddy. I'll see you later, and I'll see all you in the chat.
All right.
Thanks as well. All right. See you, bud. Bye, y'all. Peace.